Yeah, have you been using it?
Yeah.
For how long now?
Yeah, about 4 times. We got it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so what are your impressions of it?
I like it. A little stiff, but it's nice.
Yeah. Cool. How about that blade? How does that blade work for you?
Feels good. The catch is smooth. Nice.
I am with Elite Waterman Jeff Chang over here, who's got the Kai Zen paddle. So Jeff, you've been using this paddle for a while now?
Yep.
And what are your impressions of it?
It works really well. It's got a lot of nice features. The ovalized shaft is really stiff, and the design of this blade seems to get in the water real well. It provides a really nice clean catch. So makes for a really smooth, efficient stroke. I think the catch is the most important part for me. I think for a lot of people.
Yeah, and why is that?
Because if you don't have a good catch, your whole stroke's going to be inefficient. So catch is super important. This provides really nice catch. I found one of the nicest among all the paddles. I used it in a race in San Francisco and I did really well. I got it was the Battle of the Bay. It was a 8-miler around Alcatraz around the Golden Gate. I got 6th overall.
Oh, that's incredible because that's a super competitive race.
I was really happy with that. Really happy with the paddle.
All right.
I'm using it all season. It's really nice too. It has the knobs up here.
For the grip?
The choke grip.
Yep.
And it's got grip down here. So yeah, good paddle. I like it.
I have to say this paddle is amazing. Jeff was right. The biggest noticeable thing with this paddle is that on the catch, it just slides right into the water and there's no turbulence.
Aloha. Welcome to another board meeting. I'm Evan.
And I'm Robert from Blue Planet. Aloha.
Today we're going to talk about the Kai Zen paddle. You just ran this Kickstarter and it was successful, right? You're fully funded.
Yes.
And is this the first version, or you have more versions? How does this work?
So part of the Kickstarter campaign, we had like a pre-production sample run for the beta testers, we call it. So those ones we got them in, and they've been shipped to the beta testers. So people are got their paddles and are testing them and getting some feedback. And found one thing we found is that we need to make the top part a little bit stronger. We did have a couple of them break up here.
Because it's thinner? Because it tapers?
But, yeah, it's a tapered shaft. So the very first samples we made, we had the joints. The joint was a weak part, so we reinforced that. But then now we found a couple of paddles broke here. I mean, overall they're strong, but so it's good to do that kind of testing before you go into full production run.
So when you do a Kickstarter, then you always do kind of a beta run first, and then you can still change the molds, or.
Well, the molds are set, but it's more like the layup, how many layers of carbon and how they're put together and how you put flex in there. So there's a lot of things you can do with the same mold, to change the paddle, how it flexes, how it performs, how much it weighs, how strong it is, and things like that. So
you could actually have different layers in the top portion than in the bottom portion. Different materials.
Each one has like a certain layup, certain amount of layers. There's unidirectional carbon, there's like woven carbon, there's like all kinds of different carbon you can use to add strength or flex or whatever, keep the weight down. You obviously you don't want to make one part super strong and one part weaker, it's always going to break at the weakest spot. But you want to balance.
So it's not just the shiny carbon and then the brushed finish looking carbon. It's like all kinds of different things going on.
Yeah, there's lots of layers in there.
That's cool.
And there's like, up to like 8 layers of carbon in the inside the paddle. So it's not just.
So what does that mean? 88.
88. This is the size of the blade.
88. Oh, okay.
So this one, that's a smaller blade. We have an 88 and a 98. So 2 size blades, and then it's a 3-piece paddle. So when we ship it, it actually comes like this in a bag. So it's a really nice travel bag. It's small. It can take easy to travel with.
It folds. It folds. This
so
bag
the bag
is folded.
folds. Yeah. So the cool thing about this bag too is like you can use it like this as a folded up bag, and then also when you glue the paddle together, then it's a full length bag. So
you can hold it up.
And then there's 3 pieces. The 3 pieces that glue together. We use hot glue to glue the 3 pieces together, and then then you basically have a 1-piece paddle. This is like a solid 1-piece paddle, but if you do want to take it apart, you just have to heat it up with a heat gun, the 2 joints, and you can pull it apart.
Can you use a hairdryer, or does that work?
Yeah, hairdryer. I was in Australia recently. I just used a hairdryer at the hotel to put it back together.
You dried your hair and then you dried your paddle.
Yeah. So I actually just had glue left in there from when I took it apart. All I did was heat up the glue and then slide it back together, and that was it. I didn't
So
even
did you
add
carry
any
this
glue.
on? Did you carry it on, or did it go through the luggage?
I checked it in actually, and I put
Okay.
a bunch of other heavy stuff in there. So I just had one check in and carried on my other stuff. So yeah, and no complaints. I mean,
Did you wrap it with like towels and stuff, or no? You just put it into the bag.
I just put it in the bag. I mean, one thing about shipping a full-length paddle, I mean, a lot of times the airlines will take it, but you risk, that if they put it has just a lot of leverage. If they put a heavy thing right in the middle, it can break the paddle, and I've seen that happen. Broken paddles on the airlines. So by taking it apart, it's not just more convenient, easier to carry, and easier to check in, but also safer for the paddle because it has less leverage on the paddle to get broken or whatever. So it makes sense. But
So you delivered beta tester paddles. How many were there?
right. There was 10 beta testers on Kickstarter, and then we have like team riders and a few other people that are using them. But so right now we got we got 20 beta tester paddles. So we have a few extras just in case,
And then when does it go to the final production one for the rest of the Kickstarter people?
Well, it's already in production. But we're expecting those to arrive in February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're getting the production paddles in February, and then that's when everyone's going to get there. Everyone else.
Is that because it comes in the same container with boards to make it make sense, or is that's how long it takes to produce?
It takes a while to produce because they're all molded, and there's only one mold per paddle.
Oh.
So they can, I think they can only make they can make a certain amount of blades and shafts every day, So that because of the molding process, it has to get heated and cured and then popped out. So you can only make so many paddles per day per mold, So that's kind of a.
Is this what you use every day then, or are you just using it for racing?
I've been using it for everything. I have a little bit shorter paddle for surfing and a longer paddle for racing. And I was at first using only the 98, but now kind of my favorite is the 88. It still has plenty of power. It has like a really nice. I love this blade. It just has a really nice catch, and it's also very smooth in the pull, and it works great for surfing too. So I've just been using it for everything.
Does it make sense to maybe have like two different pieces of the middle of this kind of the middle portion or the top portion, so that you could have a shorter surfing paddle and just heat it and take it off? I guess if you're traveling and so on, you don't have to carry.
Yeah, a few
two
people
different
have asked
ones,
that,
or what?
and actually, like that, one of the idea was that the 98 that I made is a little bit longer. It's 4 inches longer. So even without changing the top parts, if you just change the blade, you have two length paddles, like one that's 4 inches longer for like racing or whatever, and one that's 4 inches shorter for surfing and whatnot with the 88 blade. But yeah, that's an idea that somebody else proposed to, like sell the middle piece, because that's where you adjust the length, right? So sell that separately so that people can have different middle pieces, which that makes sense.
It's pretty good though how you can kind of crowdsource
then-
all the different feedback and ideas. Yeah.
And then actually, Bill Babcock also suggested that we make the top piece different so it can kind of telescope into the middle shaft. So you can basically adjust that length just by heating it up, kind of a little bit like the Kinalu extended ergo tee that they have.
That's nice of him to make those suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate his feedback.
That's cool
I mean,
because he makes paddles too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not involved with Kinalu anymore, but just to get that kind of feedback from Bill.
That's
I
cool.
mean, he was
Good job, Bill. Good job.
Thanks, Bill. He's one of our beta
That's
testers,
cool.
so
That's cool.
really appreciate his input. So that's something we might pursue, is just having it sliding in and out, like where you can just heat it up and you slide it in or out, depending on the length. You have to give up some of these bumps here. But I guess right here they're not as needed, mostly for the lower hand, or when you're choking down you need them, so you probably give up a few of these and not have it affect the performance.
That's cool.
So,
but it's only one size grip, right?
Yeah. So actually, that's something I wanted to talk about. That's some feedback from some of the beta testers. Is they said that the handle feels really big, but I mean the design of it is, I mean, I think you just have to get used to it. It's definitely a lot bigger than an average handle. So
it's like a super ergo T palm
let me pull
contraption looking.
here if I can.
Yeah. It's a nice bag.
Yeah, the bag's very nice.
You have the shiny stuff on the outside, so the heat doesn't go in. Huh?
All right, let me just pull out this top piece.
Okay.
So I just wanted to show the handle. So the handle feels really big, but it's kind of the design idea is that it's really ergonomic. So what a lot of people do is they kind of push. If you have a smaller hand, they push with the middle of their hand, and then they kind of break their wrist right here. So and that kind of can cause wrist problems, right? So the idea of this is that you put your hand on top of it, keep your fingers pretty loose, like you don't have to grip it tight. You're pushing with the palm of your hand, this area. So by spreading the surface of your palm over a bigger area, you can like really push hard, and you push forward and push down, and it really spreads the surface area, so you don't get any pressure points on your palm. You don't get any blisters, and it takes some getting used to. But once you get used to it, it's very ergonomic and comfortable. And
I like the
it reduces stress.
hand right here.
Yeah, has the hand on top.
Little hand.
So and even people with smaller hands, it seems like
you don't have to really grip hard. Yeah,
yeah,
you can
it's
just
just
go.
a relaxed grip. And then by doing that, you keep your wrist straight. So that this should be a straight line when you're pushing on your paddle. You shouldn't be breaking your wrist. And you never want to do that. You always want to keep your wrist straight. That's how you prevent injuries from.
Cool.
A lot of people get problems with their wrist because they're breaking their wrist like that.
That would be bad.
So that you want to always keep it flat, and there's no seams on this too. Like a lot of times people get blisters from the seam on the paddle. Like there can be a rough spot where it's glued together and stuff. So that's kind of a nice advantage of this paddle too. That there's no seams to get irritated by.
That's cool.
And
that's nice.
And then with the narrow shaft up here, you can also, like, if you lose your board, you can actually stick this between your toes and just pull your paddle along on your feet. That's Jeff Chang kind of invented that way, but that works really well with this paddle. You just stick it between your toes.
Jeff has good toe dexterity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
we have a demo.
And then
that's funny.
But that's a really good way to swim with your paddle. You just stick this part between your toes, and then you can swim like.
I'm not gonna touch that again.
Okay. Okay. Anyways, that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
And
cool.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
But,
so what's the retail going to be when they're going to be for sale, like in the store or for your distributors and so on?
So we expect to have them end of February, and then they're going to be available for $449.
$449, and that includes the bag and everything.
Yeah, includes the bag,
Okay.
the 3-piece paddle.
How much do they weigh?
Everything. Depends on the size, but they're
The 88.
The 88 is under 30 ounces, and then if you cut it, depending on how the length you cut it at, is under 30 ounces. So
wow.
For a 3-piece paddle, it's light, very light, but it's not as light as some paddles out on the market, But
it's not heavy.
It's not heavy at all. No, it's a lightweight paddle.
Yeah, I like the size of this. I like the size of the 88
We
weight.
did try to make
Nice.
a lighter version of it, but I just didn't think it was strong enough. I want it to be strong enough where, obviously we're doing a warranty on it, so any part breaks, for the first year we'll just replace it, and it's fairly easy to just replace components on this paddle, and then afterwards you can just buy the part that broke at a reasonable price, and then just replace parts instead of replacing the whole paddle if something
That's
fails.
cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
So it's a nice feature, but it's always it's always a compromise between weight and strength. So I didn't want to give up too much of the strength.
You don't have to think
when it
breaking
comes
all
to
the time.
Right,
That would
exactly.
suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So you want it to be strong.
Plus,
enough.
this is kind of good because if one component piece breaks, you can always just replace that one piece, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then another nice feature about the bag is inside the bag here. There's a little pocket. Yeah. So there's a little pocket in here inside the top of the bag, Velcro pocket. So you can put a heat gun in here. Like we have like travel size heat guns and glue guns. So stick that in here, and then I'll have it right there in the bag with your paddle.
You have to have like a full body cavity check after that. What is this? I'm gonna check you. Go on the side.
Yeah. It's my hair drying set. So
You have sensitive hair, finicky hair. You need all these heating.
hot hair done.
Yeah, and then you have your head shaved.
So yeah, so
It's pretty cool.
it's our Kai Zen paddle.
Okay. Kind of cool how it folds up. So you designed the bag too?
Yep, we designed the bag for this paddle. And it has like a little clip here, and also once you cut it, it has a strap at the top so you can shorten the length of the bag to fit your paddle exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It folds up like that. Really
Looks like an
easily.
ukulele case.
Yeah,
Ukulele.
or gun case.
Yeah. I like this
So-
handle on the bag. It's like for real kind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty cool.
Yeah, like heavy
pretty
duty
cool
looking.
paddle, and then
And it's balanced.
yeah,
kinda
I mean,
nice.
I think probably the coolest part about this paddle is the way it works in the water. It's very efficient. You know, it has no seams here. It has very the shaft is very smooth through the water. Like doesn't create any turbulence, and just it's powerful but smooth and easy to control. So it's a great blade. You know.
It's amazing how far paddles have come along since the earlier days when Jeff
Yeah.
Chang made me just put the cap in. I didn't even cut it and just suffering badly.
Yeah.
Out there.
In the old he
Yeah, he said,
originally
okay.
there was this outrigger paddles
first-
with the long shaft, and they were huge blades. You know.
Yeah, the
And
C4
then-
9.5-inch blade,
and
and
I
it
think,
was
yeah,
just
now
he just
peop-
glued the handle and made me go.
Now
Suffering.
people realize that actually a smaller blade because you have such a long shaft on it, and your hand's pretty far away from the blade. You just you need a smaller blade to be able to get a good cadence going, and if you have good technique, the paddle won't slip. You really
I like all your little art stuff. You have like the little yin and yang fish guy, and then it's nice.
yeah.
It's nice.
And then the hand on top is kind
Yeah.
of a cool thing too. Yeah.
Well, you can add designer to your resume now. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
actually,
cool.
Kevin helped me with all that stuff.
Okay.
So he's
Kevin can
part
add
of-
designer onto
Yeah.
his resume.
And then Alex Nix, I just wanted to give him credit too for the especially the shaft design. The oval tapered shaft is actually Alex Nix's innovation. Like he was the first to do that. I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers that do it now, and but Alex Nix is the one who innovated the oval tapered shaft and made a mandrel and made these. So this is kind of a modified version of his oval tapered shaft, which is I think a really nice feature that being used pretty commonly now in the market. So
Okay,
yeah, great design.
cool.
And
Cool.
he's the one who made the original prototype of this paddle, Alex's. So that's why he's on there as a co-designer.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing it in the water. I gotta actually try one
Yeah.
and
I gotta
get out there and see. Because I mean, ultimately, that's what it matters, anyways, right? It could be light, pretty, have nice bag, but
yeah.
it's gotta work.
It's how it works
right?
in the
It's
water.
gotta work.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you typically kind of go back to the paddle you like. You have all these paddles, and then you just kind of grab the one that you like.
That
So
feels most comfortable, right?
so hopefully it's this one.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit to get used to it. I mean, like if someone uses it once, they might be like, "Oh, this is not my favorite paddle." But once you use it a few times, then it's like hard to go back to anything else. For me now, it's like, "Oh, this."
Like a
doesn't-
song almost. The first time you hear certain songs, like I don't know about that, and then you hear it over and over. It's like, oh, I love this song. And it's your jam, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or boards too. Like
Yeah.
if you use a board once, it doesn't. You might not like it that much, but once you kind of get the feel for it, and it becomes like an extension of you, then that's when it really works, right?
That's
so
cool.
That's kind of how a paddle is too. It becomes kind of part of your body, right? Almost.
It's gonna be interesting over like the next few years or whatever to see all the different things you can come up with, and
Yeah.
then Kickstarter out and crowdfund the design.
Yeah,
and
so
on.
one
It's
thing
gonna be
actually
awesome.
I'm thinking about is using, making it like kind of a more traditional paddle construction with just a regular rolled mandrel shaft handle and a blade instead of the three-piece design. I mean, I think the three-piece design is really nice, but it does have some drawbacks to it. It makes the paddle a little bit heavier because of the joints and
Okay.
here and so on. But
It's like lean
but, yeah.
manufacturing.
So I'm thinking
iterating.
of some, but one thing we would have to give up with that would be these bumps, which I think is a really cool part of the design. It keeps your hand from slipping without having to put a lot of texture on it. Like people
Like
put
tape
wax
and all
or
that.
texture or tape or whatever on it, but that kind of thing gives you blisters usually. These bumps. I had one guy say that he got blisters from this, but probably just because his hands weren't used to it. But obviously, it's a lot less, adds a lot less friction than putting anything else on it. But it keeps your hand from sliding up and down, and it gives you kind of a registration where your hand is. So
It's only first generation,
works
so
really well.
as you progress, it'll get better.
Yeah, no, I mean, really stoked on this paddle.
Yeah,
So.
looks good for a first generation.
All right,
Okay,
thanks for watching.
sounds good. Thanks for watching the show, and please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Please leave any comments below, and then either myself or Robert can answer those for you. And please watch our other videos here, and see you again on another board meeting.
Aloha.